Now, the city of Tshwane multi-party coalition fails in its attempt to get rid of Council Speaker Mncedi Ndzwanana through a motion of no confidence. The governing alliance accuses Ndzwanana of failing to fulfill his duties. Earlier today, Council Speaker disallowed the debate, citing that the matter had been dealt with previously. Joining us now to talk more on this is ActionSA Tshwane Caucusspokesperson Thabang Sebotsane. Thabang, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Your motion of no confidence seemingly failing again, at least to be heard in council. Why?
Good evening, Thabo, and to the viewers at home. It's obviously become very clear, Thabo, that this Speaker of the city of Tshwane is hell-bent on frustrating the work of council by essentially conducting himself in an unlawful way, as he did today by adjourning a council sitting duly constituted, based on honestly frivolous reasons. The reasons the motion was tabled this afternoon were legitimate and were based on fact, and all the laws and statutes were followed. So his argument is baseless, and it's obviously a mere technicality that he is pursuing to prolong his unwelcomed sitting on that chair.
It's not the first meeting that he adjourned, at least that was intended to debate his motion of no confidence. He did so also in April, and when he did in April, you had said you are pursuing some legal avenue. You did not do so. What are you going to do this time?
Well, look, it is obviously an avenue and a remedy that we have to pursue this matter, and it is obviously not the only or the first thing that we are going to do outright, as it was our intention previously. It remains a remedy at hand, and it's still an option that we have even at this point for us to pursue if we finally decide to do so. But at this point in time, we do still maintain that it is a remedy that we have that we can still pursue. And when we find each other with our coalition and multi-party partners to eventually do so, we certainly will, as it is a legitimate option that we can still go after him through, in place of all the other avenues that we pursued internally.
Yeah. Well, look, one could say the Speaker has, for example, not blocked some of the more critical and important things, for example, like passing budget. You were able to pass budget. Why would you want to get rid of the Speaker? It doesn't seem to be standing in the way of the multi-party coalition in carrying out its work.
Yes, you could actually make the assumption that that is beneficial to him. And I mean, there is a myriad of reasons why he would have allowed budget to pass. And I think we all know that the overarching and detrimental outcome of him having not allowed that to happen was that even he would have been affected. I cannot tell you that right now. He wouldn't want that to happen. As the EFF would happily remind all of us, it's very nice up there where he is sitting, and he wouldn't want to jeopardize that. And I'm saying this clearly, Thabo, to suggest to you that there is absolutely no commitment whatsoever from this one-party councillor sitting at the helm of Speaker to advance the service delivery mandate that the multi-party coalition actually has as a commitment to the people of this city. He is merely just sitting up there to pursue a narrow-minded ANC-EFF mandate that he is pursuing, because I can assure you he is clearly being controlled, and this is not an assumption, but this we have been told publicly by some of the opposition caucus leaders.
Yeah. So give for people of Tshwane who might not understand what you're doing. You're saying he has failed some of the basic council rules, or in understanding some of the basic council rules. What has he done that is so out of what the rules say that you're saying he's ill-equipped?
Well, essentially running council like he's running his backyard spaza shop. We essentially do not have rules that force him to adjourn council dealing with extremely important, urgent, and very necessary council agenda items, and he would just willy-nilly adjourn council at 5 o'clock because he feels like it. Or when, the clear masters that run him suggest the same to him during a council sitting, he would just immediately ignore everything else from the side of the multi-party coalition, and he would adjourn council at his own discretion against the laws of the rules and orders that govern the running of council.
Yeah. So you are accusing.
So just as one simple example, where matters that needs disposing by council on a specific sitting would suffer for another 2 to 3 weeks simply because on that one particular day, an opposition caucus leader or whip would tell him to adjourn council, and he would adjourn councils merely on that suggestion or instruction in open view of everybody. So, it's clear to all of us that this is not somebody who is who has the best interest of the people of Tshwane and the service delivery thereof, but he's presiding over the best interest of those that put him there, who are the ANC and the EFF.
So, if another councillor would be one thing, but ActionSA believes it's not even just another councillor, but it is the Gauteng Premier who literally is running things and giving instructions to the Speaker.
And naturally, as the man presiding over the province, the buck stops with him in Gauteng. So, obviously that should not be lost on us, that would be the fact, Thabo. But perhaps let me also just add on the further arguments that we are making as a coalition of Tshwane regarding this fellow. We, as a coalition, we have made promises to the residents of the city of Tshwane, and those promises are on the back of these people having voted our individual parties into the numbers that we occupy in that chamber. Consequently, what that means, Thabo, is that we also have the responsibility of running the city, not just from the executive seat, but we also need to run that city from the legislature, which is where Councillor Ndzwanana sits with his one seat vote. And that can obviously not be a normal thing, to be left as is. The ANC and EFF's approach of using these small one-party seats to run their mandates, with a backhand approach, can therefore not be allowed to proceed when we have a multi-party coalition with a majority that should be presiding over the legislature and running, the service delivery mandate of the people also from there, as well as from the executive. Yeah. So in spite of the tactics of the Premier, as it is suggested, there is also a much more important reason why this puppet speaker must be removed from that seat and be replaced by a legitimate coalition majority speaker.
Is this action by the multi-party coalition not going to result in political instability for the council?
I can assure you, Thabo, instability is currently the order of the day. You will appreciate that it took us almost a month and a half to pass budget. In fact, at one point, passing the adjustment budget almost put the party at risk, where we needed to even write to the MEC to request for an extension, and we needed to make concessions also with various other national departments, including the Treasury, to make sure that we remain intact and we make undertakings that we didn't even have to go as far as if the chaos that this man is presenting to the city was not ensuing. So, on the back of all of this thing, this man is actually not advancing, the service delivery mandate for the people of the city of Tshwane. And in as much as there is still government, the fact that he's sitting or he's presiding over council is actually one of the biggest risks that the city of Tshwane is currently experiencing.
Risk in what sense?
I just explained to you. we had to ask for multiple extensions to pass the extent.
But one could argue that could have been a reason. The reason for that, of course, would have been the fact that there was generally instability in terms of one mayor coming in and then being taken to court, coming out, and another mayor coming in. It's this exchange that I'm asking you, that you are going back to that when things seemingly have now stabilized.
Factually, the budget, the adjustment budget was not passed, not because of the reasons you are citing, but because the Speaker at the time would unduly adjourn council sittings. It is just clear and plain fact.
I remember quite clearly when the mayors were changing seats there, and I had a chat with the MEC for Finance in Gauteng. It was at that time when he was himself threatening to say, well, if this does not happen, then he will need to put this city under administration. And that is the period in which this was happening.
And it is for that reason, Tabi, you can appreciate that the coalition majority actually had our own speaker presiding over these proceedings. The general professional conduct and running of council proceedings would have been undertaken to such an extent that all the necessary processes that needed to be done were done on that day, concluded, so that the business of government can commence. And unfortunately, that was not the case.
All right, let's leave it there. Thabang, much appreciated. Thanks for coming on. That's the Speaker of ActionSA caucus in the city of Tshwane, Thabang Sebotsane. All right.